All right, welcome everybody to the kickoff event for our Equity and Mental Health series. This is our summer kickoff episode. I'm blessed to be joined with some members of the Faculty and Staff Assistance Program team. Myself, my name is Kyler Nathan. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a double Trident alum, graduated with a bachelor's as well as my master's from UC San Diego. Also a current staff member at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. And in my spare time, I host podcasts. I'm the host, content producer, and content manager of the Banquet Hall podcast. And so I'm happy to be here today, sharing with you all a little bit about the Equity and Mental Health series. First, want to thank the Vice Chancellor's Area of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for sponsoring this series and helping to bring us all together. But I want to turn it over to Dr. Crystal Green to introduce herself as well as her team over at FSAP. Dr. Crystal.
Hi there, everyone. So glad that you could join us. I'm here with the Faculty Staff Assistance Program team, and we're very happy to be a part of this and hope that we can bring an engaging message to you. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the director and one of the counselors at FSAP, and have my team here to also introduce. We'll go first to Dr. Kat Thompson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kat Thompson. I use she, her pronouns as well, and I'm an FSAP counselor currently. I've been on campus as a staff member for 22 years. I spent my first 20 years in the Student Counseling Center, and now I'm working with faculty and staff exclusively. I also am an alum of UCSD as well. I went to Muir College way back in the day, and I'm just happy to be here to share some time with you all. Go to Bryan.
Hi, Dr. Bryan McNutt. Pleasure to meet you all and pleasure to be here today. I have the fortunate privilege of being a part of the FSAP team for almost the last 5 years or so. And before joining the team here at the university, I worked in a variety of different clinical settings and including some specialized work in traumatic stress and working with sexual and gender diverse clients. So it's a pleasure to be here with you all. And I'll turn the baton over to Izabel.
Thanks, Bryan. Hi all, I'm Izabel Francy. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and have a specialization in maternal mental health, along with the EAP, as several of my colleagues. I've been with the campus for about 12 years. I was with the Department of Psychiatry before I was with FSAP, but I've been with FSAP for going on 9 years. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm actually a UC alum, although not UC San Diego. I'm a UC Santa Cruz alum. Oh, and I will turn it over to Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Triana. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been with FSAP for about 4 years now. I started in 2019. I like to let everybody know that I'm one of the bilingual counselors, right? Hablo en español. So my pronouns are she, her, ella, and I'm very happy to be here. I will pass it over to Christina.
Hello all, I am Dr. Christina Lambert and go by Christina or Dr. Lambert, pronouns she, her, hers. And I have been on campus for 20 years. I previously worked at Counseling and Psychological Services, and I'm happy to be a part of the FSAP team. Thank you.
Then last but not least, William.
Hi, my name is William Youngblood, and I use he, him, his pronouns. I am a counselor here at FSAP, and have been working in the community throughout San Diego with children and adolescents prior to coming here, and was in private practice for 7 years. I have a background and I really enjoy working with families and couples, and have a background in brief psychotherapy as well. So thank you for having me today.
And thank you all for introducing yourselves. We're very much looking forward to engaging with you all for this kickoff event. But before we get to the details of the event, first wanted to talk a little bit about what this initiative entails. And so the Equity and Mental Health Initiative, it's an initiative used to provide resources and to host events focused on self-care and healing using a trauma-informed lens, which we'll learn a little bit more about later in this video. The purpose of this series, we received funding from UCOP, University of California Office of the President, to deliver resources and support from an equity, diversity, and inclusion lens. This is designed to support our staff as well as our practitioners' mental health, as well as to acknowledge the work of student affairs practitioners and those supporting our students. In terms of when this series is going to be taking place, it will be taking place quarterly throughout the 2023-2024 academic year, and the first kickoff event will be on Tuesday, August 22nd. If you want to learn more about the series, you can visit the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion webpage at diversity.ucsd.edu, and you can find it under the Equity and Mental Health section under edi-resources. Once again, that's diversity.ucsd.edu, and then look for Equity and Mental Health under the edi-resources, and there you'll be able to find several curated mental health resources, as well as details about the event series. As I mentioned, the kickoff event is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, August 22nd, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. with lunch, as well as a mental health resources fair featuring our staff from FSAP, CAPS, Triton Core, UC San Diego Recreation, the Staff Association Board, as well as the UC San Diego Center for Mindfulness. And so I wanted to pause and turn it over to Jennifer to share a little bit more about the FSAP presence at the Mental Health Resources Fair.
Thanks, Kyler. Absolutely. It's a really exciting way to be visible on campus for us as providers and just be face-to-face, right, with the campus. And so usually we get to do this via, like right now we're doing things a lot through Zoom, right, and telehealth and things like that. So we're going to be there presenting. I'm personally going to be walking around saying hello to people, right? And so we, like you'd mentioned before, right, CAPS, also Recreation, Staff Association, lots of us are going to be there. So in the event that somebody maybe doesn't get to always, see us, go to a session or do anything like that, or they just kind of want to say hello and ask a question, we'll be there. We'll be there giving you information and saying hello.
Thank you, Jennifer. And that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to have this video. So you see the friendly faces that you'll be able to see at that event. We know there are plenty of resources for faculty and staff at UC San Diego, but not too often we get to hear from the people who are leading those resources. So very appreciative that we have this opportunity to just show some face time with folks. And once again, the event will be taking place Tuesday, August 22nd at 11 a.m. If you're wondering where to find the event, will be taking place at the Qualcomm Institute Auditorium, which is in the area of the Jacobs School of Engineering. That is located in Warren College near Warren Mall. Of course, more of those details can be found on the website as well. The event is currently at capacity, unfortunately, but if you would like to join the waitlist, you can contact the VCEDI events team at vcedi-events@ucsd.edu. That's vcedi-events@ucsd.edu. And for those of y'all who are unable to attend, the event will be recorded and posted on the initiative's webpage. The program itself will begin at 12 p.m. with opening remarks from our Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Becky Pettit, as well as will be facilitated by our own Dr. Crystal Green, who you met just a few moments ago, and the FSAP team that we have on the call today. Now, to get into the details of the event, I'd like to turn the mic back over to Dr. Crystal Green to share an overview of the agenda and what participants can expect at this event.
Thanks, Skylar. We wanted this event to be something that everyone felt very welcome at. We want it to be starting out with the lunch and the fair where people can mix and mingle and talk a little bit, because being a part of this community has been the reason I came to UC San Diego, was the search for that community and the continuing sense of belonging and meeting people, seeing their smiles, knowing that they're here and that so many of us have a real longevity. I forgot to mention, I've been with the university at FSAP for 14 and a half years now. So maybe not as long as Dr. Thompson and Dr. Lambert, but it's been a wonderful place to work. And it's wonderful to be able to be at these events and bump into people. So we have designed our event to be one where we're all taking a piece of the pie and sharing it out. And my team will now tell you a little bit more about how each person is going to help unfold this idea that we're inviting everyone to come and be ambassadors for equity and mental health. Everything we do, everywhere we go, we take our mental health with us. It's our physical health, it's our emotional health, it's our social health. It's not just sitting down and talking one-on-one with a counselor. So I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Kat Thompson, and have her tell you a little bit about the lens that we're using to make sure that everyone knows how to create the environment that keeps us all healthy. Kat?
Thank you. So we'll be starting the day with a learn session where we will be able to learn and review our trauma-informed workshops that we've had to date, and how this approach of using a trauma-informed lens really can be helpful and beneficial to our campus and how it fits within our values and where we want to go. When it comes to being trauma-informed, that means that anybody who's providing any kind of care or service to other people has an understanding that we all come into our spaces with some experience of trauma. Everybody has experienced something. And we want to make sure that we have that in mind as we're interacting with each other so that we can understand the wide impact of trauma and how that might be informing how someone is relating to you in that moment. We want to be able to really work towards keeping a mindful eye to that so that we don't then re-traumatize people in the way that we respond to them as we're coming into contact with each other. We'll say a lot more about that as we get into the learning session that is out on that Tuesday. When are we doing this? On the 22nd. But yeah, we just want to make sure that folks understand what trauma-informed means.
Thank you for that explanation, Kat. I think it's so important when we talk about mental health resources and this trauma-informed lens that we have the appropriate context, because we live in a generation where we see lots of stuff on social media, we read a lot about on the news. And so a lot of these buzzwords sometimes come around, but we may not have the opportunity to really understand more about what that means. Even something as simple as self-care, we talk about practicing self-care a lot, but what does that mean for us as individuals? And so I wanted to invite Izabel to tell us a little bit more about self-care and practice and what this might mean for the event.
Thanks, Tyler. So I think everyone's going to have a little bit of a different definition of what self-care is, which is actually super appropriate. Self-care is going to look different for each individual. And there's lots of different areas that self-care can apply to: your profession, your personal life, your spiritual life, your physical self, your mental self. All these things are going to look a little bit different, but ultimately, let's create a bottom line here. And that's really going to just be asking the question of, what can I do for myself right now? And maybe that you're not gonna be able to answer that question. Maybe it's gonna be, I can't do anything right now. I have to finish this email and I have something that whatever. But maybe you can get to it. And at least you're asking yourself the question. And again, applying that to whatever is happening in the moment, whether it's, if we're looking at from the trauma-informed lens of something that's really triggering for you, and maybe you need to put something off or set a boundary or express yourself in some way or create conversation in the future, all those, that answer is going to look really different. But the bottom line is, at least ask yourself the question.
Thank you. Asking ourselves the question and figuring out what self-care means for us is so important. I think especially over the last few years, as we transition to do a lot more on the computer, a lot more on Zoom, one of the ways I like to practice self-care a lot is just to get outside in between meetings. Even if I only have 10 minutes before a meeting, just taking a quick walk around my apartment complex, get some fresh air, get a nice cup of tea, whatever it may be. So highly encourage our listeners and those watching this video, take a moment after you're done with this video to practice some form of self-care in preparation for this event as well. And then our next pillar of the agenda is reflection. So I want to pass it over to Christina to talk a little bit about the reflect portion.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so, we want this to not just be a one-day experience. This is going to be an experience where we really think about how we bring this into our daily lives, into our personal lives, into our work lives, into our community at UC San Diego. And so when we think about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, when we think about a trauma-informed care, and we think about intersectional identities, we want to be thinking about all of those pieces and what that means for mental health, where mental health intersects with all of that. And so maybe this means participating in one of our support groups that we offer at FSAP. So we have support groups for our BIPOC community. We have support groups around elder care and parenting, new parents, parents of teenagers. We have support groups that are more positive psychology based, like Triton's Flourish, where we're really looking at strengths and how to support our strengths and capitalize on our strengths. We have Mindful Pause, which is an offering that allows us to take some time to reflect on where we are and where we would like to be, how to get there. And then I personally have the privilege of facilitating the support groups for neurodivergent staff. This is often staff who identify as autistic or as having ADHD or other forms of learning disabilities. There's other folks that would also identify as neurodivergent, and a support group for parents and caregivers of neurodivergent kids. So, just a lot of things that we offer for people to think about. Does this kind of support, is this resource something that is going to really enhance my mental health and enhance my ability to show up in community the way I want to show up? Is it going to also be important for me to think about these resources and how maybe they're not particularly relevant for me, that given resource, but maybe there is somebody in my department or in my realm where I work who would benefit, that I want to make sure that they are aware of all the wonderful resources that we have on campus, which were some of those other partners are going to be presenting as well, and be it tabling and providing information. But also we have a lot of off-campus resources. And so we can be great bridges for helping people connect with off-campus resources that could be of support additionally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I really appreciate the mention of an intersectional lens, because I think as we talk about equity and mental health, we're a very globally diverse campus with thousands and thousands of people from many different walks of life, many different identities, age ranges, many different experiences. And so as we talk about equity and mental health, it's important that we're able to point different folks to resources that might fit different parts of their identity, both the visible parts of their identity as well as the invisible parts. So thank you for highlighting that for us. And of course, no event would be finished without a plan of action. And I think that Bryan was going to share a little bit about the planning portion of our Equity and Mental Health series.
Yeah, thanks, Kyler. Just to pick up on the comments that Christina was mentioning, certainly don't want the experience of this event to stop on this one day. And whether we're thinking about trauma-informed perspectives, or we're looking at elements of mental health equity and considerations of diversity and inclusion and belonging, what's critical about all of this is that we're all interconnected, and it's up to all of us. And we really want to encourage folks to think about, how do you have influence within the communities that you're a part of? When we think about our campus community, this is where we want to encourage folks to consider how they can be an ambassador of mental health to their own teams, to their units, to their departments, recognizing that all of this touches one another throughout the entire campus community. We all have a role to play. We all have something we can model. We all have something of value that we can communicate. And ultimately, a lot of it comes down to our relationships with each other. So our plan that we want to help inspire, hopefully, and encourage folks to carry forward with them is think about how they continue to embody these aspirational values and these areas of focus in their relationships day to day and in their spheres of influence throughout the campus community.
Thank you, Bryan. And I hope that we're able to highlight a lot of what you can expect from our event. Once again, the event will kick off on Tuesday, August 22nd, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. at the Qualcomm Institute. If you want to learn more following this video, you can go over to the diversity page at diversity.ucsd.edu, and you can find more event details under equity and mental health under the EDI resources tab. The next session is going to be in the fall quarter, and it's going to be organized by our Center for Faculty Diversity and Inclusion. So stay tuned for more events, more episodes to learn more about our equity and mental health series. Definitely looking forward to seeing all of you all who are listening to this video at the event. Highly encourage you all to share this as a resource with your colleagues to make sure that we stay interconnected. And we want to make sure that everyone has access to these mental health resources and is familiar with just how they can support their mental health and the mental health of those that they care about on our campus, because at the end of the day, we are all Tridents, students, staff, faculty, all across the board. Just wanted to turn it over to any last thoughts from our own Dr. Crystal Green before we close out.
Thank you so much, Kyler, and thanks for hosting us today. You did a great job. We're also super thankful to VC Becky Pettit and her staff for including us in this event and in this year full of really exciting different things that are going to be going on, and to UCOP for the funding. We know that the past years, the global pandemic, the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, so many other individual events, so much violence in our communities and so forth, has really put a focus on mental health and the need for all of us to pull together to practice that self-care and also to practice some of these basic tenets of trauma-informed care. So we're so glad to be a part of this and to be highlighted for this kickoff event. We're looking forward to seeing everyone gather on campus and to seeing our campus colleagues who also provide such excellent services. I think it's really going to be a great event to be present at, and it will kick off a year of even more to come.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning into this video. Once again, my name is Kyler Nathan, and we'll see you on Tuesday, August 22nd at 11 a.m.